for a lack of a better place to start. Cut some ramps for the truck, thinking that the lead edge was going to be 30 degrees before I realized my saw wouldn't cut that and not enough blade. So what I did was I re-notched them to space the ends further apart there to be able to climb it when they're stacked. What I want to do is recut these with about a 30-degree angle, and still have the same problem with my table saw, won't do that. And I've seen several YouTube videos where you mount your board that you're going to cut standing vertically so you can get the angle that you need, and that's what we're doing. I don't know if I still have that. Oh yeah, basically this is just going to be a box that surrounds my fence, and clamp the boards to it and see if we can make a mess. Anyway, this is the start. This is my fence, little Craftsman saw. So I'm cutting boards going either side, make a top, and I had to notch this because my saw has a screw sticking up and then the end clamp sticks up, so I just ran a slot down the middle of this, and then this will be the sideboard that gets attached. Okay. Like I said, cheap and dirty. There we go. And this is how it was supposed to be. Each ramp, it's a continuous slope versus not being able to cut. Kind of a step that the truck has to overcome, and this just is a continuous roll. Kind of worth the effort. This video was supposed to be about me making this jig for my table saw so that I could recut these ramps at a steeper angle. Obviously when I did this on the table saw will only go, I think it's 41 degrees or something is the max. Anyway, came across several videos on YouTube, people making these primarily for making tenon joints. This box sits on my fence, and will slide. I think that showed that in the other video. But standing this vertically, and I had to add this spacer against my stop because of the bolts on the steps. But this allows me to easily cut this angle. You got some clamps, which is what this cutout's about, so you can reach around the clamp stuff. I'll add some links to the final video that I used. I mean, I've seen all kinds of really nice ones that guys are making, but this basically was to cut 6 of these, or recut. It's not something I plan on using. It'll be a nice tool on the shelf if I ever need it again. So this was quick with material I had on hand, which was basically this 1/2-inch particle board. And if I ever make another one, it definitely won't be out of particle board, and be thicker. One of the issues with my table saw is the fence is really narrow, and I designed this one to ride on top of it. I had to cut this notch out because there's some screws on the one end and the end clamp, and this has to slide. If I ever do another one, it'll ride on the bottom edges and raise this about 1/8 of an inch or better, so that it doesn't ride on the top. I added this piece again because my fence is so narrow that this was really unstable, so I added this piece here, just some braces to keep it from folding. It makes it a lot more stable, but if I was to do this again, I'd use thicker material, not particle board, MDF, or plywood maybe. But it would, like I said, be designed to sit on the edges, make sure I have enough width. This actually works, but it was added on, so it was kind of a pain to do. Worked pretty slick. The stop, mostly the stop, all it really does is ensure that stuff is square to the table. Because this is particle board, I wanted something to ensure I just didn't snap this off, this long extension. Plus I wanted a handle. I didn't want my hand anywhere near this contraption. It's fairly safe. It's safe as a table saw is, as long as everything's clamp secured. But had this piece of 2x4 left over from something that was already cut at this angle, which happened to be perfect, and it puts my hand at actually a pretty comfortable position. Although I wish I'd, before I glued and screwed it on, is cut a hole through this so I could get my fingers actually hold on to it, but this works. Mostly it's just pushing it. I think in the video that I show cutting, I got my hand here, but I'm not pushing. I've found that if I have a free hand that's floating around, it usually finds some place that it's not supposed to be. So I may put a little handle on the end here, just something to get this hand out of the way. But it works pretty slick. I was actually surprised when I made this if it was going to work for me or not. Like I said, all I'm doing is recutting these ramps. So I didn't spend a whole lot of energy. It's all glued and stapled. There's no... Anyway, threw a coat of stain on it and mopped some varnish on it. I'm a block from the beach, and particle board loves to soak up moisture, keep this thing from swelling. For what I've got into this, nothing. Used up scraps, like I said. This isn't a how-to or anything. Not showing off my craftsmanship, because obviously I'm not. But it's just amazing when you have a situation and you need to solve a problem. I mean, table saw for me is fairly new acquisition, not something I've used. I'm used to using a skill saw on a milk crate, cutting stuff. But something simple like this, made a little crosscut sled, that worked out well. But if you got a problem, you get on YouTube and see what guys are actually using to accomplish something. A lot of the guys really know their stuff, and their assist tools show it. And like I said, I only needed to cut those 6 boards, so I wasn't going to spend a lot of money. I have to come up with a better way to clamp stuff right now. The boards that I was using worked, because I clamp it for both sides to hold it. But I can see using long pieces of trim and wanting to bevel it in, and it's going to be cobbling something together for a clamp. I still have a lot of, shall I say, respect for a table saw. That, and if I was to do something like this a lot, I would make another dedicated insert plate for the table saw at the angle that I'm cutting at, because cutting off small slivers for an angle, they just invariably get caught in the blade and are spitting out all over the place. Which is kind of one of the nice things of having this thing so big. You can stand behind it and get out of the line of fire. Anyway, it ain't pretty, but it'll work. And actually, it did work. I got all 6 boards cut. And all these are just leveling ramps for the truck when we had the camper on it. They're stackable. I think I showed that maybe, so they don't spit out, but the 45-degree angle and having it set back to keep this angle down, like when they're stacked up. And now I can stack these up 4 high, and I still only have a 30-degree, and it's a continuous slope, so the truck will climb it fairly easily.